What is going on, guys? Thanks for checking out this video, my sports Gematria. I'm going to go over the MLB World Series in this video, and I'm going to show you some connections that I promise you no one else is going to show you. Not because they don't want, well, maybe because they don't want to, but maybe they don't know how to. Maybe they don't care to, I suppose. Maybe they just don't have the knowledge to. But this video is going to be titled, or at least my presentation, I don't know what the video is going to be titled. I'll try and make some type of trigger title for YouTube. But this presentation I have titled The Hebrew Side of This Year's MLB World Series No One Will Tell You About. Let's get into it. Let's get it rocking. All right. Get a bigger screen for you. All right. You guys ready? Let's get it going. So the Hebrew side of this year's MLB World Series, no one will tell you about. Oop. All right, so to start off, let's talk about my World Series record. I picked all 6 games. The first game, in Game 1, I picked the Astros, and I lost. Game 2, I picked the Phillies, and I lost. Game 3 on Halloween, I picked the Phillies, but it was a rainout game, weather issue. So Game 3 got moved to Tuesday. And then on Tuesday, for the new date, I went ahead and picked Phillies again. They won. Game 4, I picked Astros. They won. Game 5, I picked Astros. They won. Game 6, I picked Astros. They won. The Houston Astros and I won the World Series this year with a 4-2 record. So I just want to let you guys know these were my picks. Full transparency. And more importantly, accountability. I say that and I show that to you guys, not, for bragging rights, but it's mainly for accountability. To let you guys know that this isn't after the fact Gematria that I'm doing. This is before games are starting. These are my own data. This is my own picks. These are my own results. This isn't me putting something together after the game has already started, after the game has already concluded. And in fact, when I'm recording this video, at 4:34 p.m. Saturday, November 5th. So 3 hours before Game 6 has even started for the MLB. So I'm jumping the gun. I wrote this presentation after Game 5 Thursday night, did a little editing on Friday, and now I'm recording this video before Game 6 of the MLB series has even started. So there's no after the fact Gematria on my Patreon page, okay? Just want to make that clear for accountability. I keep track of all my picks for anyone to see publicly. That's for transparency, accountability. We can even show you. See, here's my pick I posted 30 minutes ago for. There's the pick. My picks are always in writing, underlined, italicized. It's the only word that's underlined, italicized, and in writing. I keep track of win-loss records for whatever I'm doing. So you always know if I'm on a losing streak or a winning streak and how many days it's been. And then on top of that, if you just want to scroll down in the same post, here's my entire record that gets updated daily every time I post a pick. Not only overall, but individually by sport league. And you can find this on my Patreon page in a matter of seconds. You don't have to watch any videos to try and decipher what it is that I'm doing right or wrong. I'm not giving you any BS answers like, oh, don't worry about my record it's the best in the world, right? Like exaggerated answers like that make no logical sense. It's for accountability. So no after the fact Gematria, 100% accountable. I've done over 4,000 picks in the 2 years that I've been public. The reason why that's important is because I'm not new to this. I have experience. Arguably, I probably have more experience than most do that are doing YouTube videos as far as the sports picking side goes. I mean, who here do you know of that's done 4,000 picks publicly, over 4,000 picks publicly online in the last 2.5 years? I mean, it averages out to be roughly 5 to 6 picks a day for 2.5 years straight. Most barely make one pick a day or every other day. So I have experience with this. I have a vast variety of data that I can pull from because of this. Fourth thing is I don't cherry pick any of my games either. And I show you this. I picked all 6 MLB games. I didn't pick the one game that I thought had the best chances of winning or that I had the best feeling on. No, I picked all 6 games, win or lose. It is what it is. I always encourage everybody to go off of that, the every game on the board method. And I do this a lot. I did this for the NBA. I picked every single NBA playoff game regardless. I pick every NFL playoff game regardless. One year, it wasn't this last year, but one year I picked every single NCAA college bracket game, all 68 damn games. I picked them all, right? Because I don't cherry pick. This isn't about trying to grab the low-hanging fruit. It's about understanding this work and trying to do it consistently no matter what, regardless of what's in front of you, whether it's a low-hanging fruit game or not. Then ultimately, I'm telling you this for troubleshooting and reviewing. So if you pick the World Series games and you have a different result than mine, maybe a better result or a worse result, I know quite a few people who blew up my inbox saying, "Oh, the Phillies are gonna sweep the Astros," and they personally would insult me and attack me as they said that. I'm sure they're probably looking dumb now. But again, it's for troubleshooting. Maybe you had a different result. This can help you out on maybe where you went wrong, and then also just a quick overview of what took place, the Hebrew World Series. Stuff no one is going to tell you online. I promise you, no one online right now is going to make a video with this information other than myself. And if there is somebody else that's making a video of this information, it's because they watched my video and then copied it, and now they have a video out as well. But I'll be the first one to post all of this information. I promise you that, in the entire universe. Let's keep it going. Let's start off with what's Gematria. What's Gematria? Gematria is a Hebrew practice. First of all, if you don't like the way I pronounce the word, get over it. Second of all, Gematria is a Hebrew practice. It's an ancient Hebrew practice. It goes along with the world conspiracy that everyone talks about. But this is more specific to the Hebrew side of the world conspiracy. Think about Kanye and Irving here recently. Who they've been talking out against, right? They've been getting their careers destroyed for even mentioning the word. I'm not going to mention the word. I'm just going to say the word Hebrew. I'm going to say Hebrew world conspiracy. I'm not going to say the other word, even though it's not a bad word. I think YouTube may flag the video if I say it, just because, even though it's not a bad word or anything like that. But I'm just going to say the word Hebrew versus the other word. Hebrew practice, Gematria is the ancient Hebrew practice. There is a Hebrew world conspiracy going on right now that people talk about. And I use the Hebrew calendars to go with. A lot of people don't know about the Hebrew calendars. There's 2 different sides to the Hebrew calendars. There's the Hebrew civil side, and then there's the Hebrew religious side, aka the ecclesiastical side. I call it the Hebrew religious. Google will tell you it's the ecclesiastical. The 2 sides. The fall side of the calendar is when it changes the overall year for the calendars, and then the springtime is the ecclesiastical side, but it doesn't change the overall year for the 2 sides. All right, so we got that out of the way. Let's go ahead and get into the numbers no one will tell you about with this World Series. The 118th World Series conclusion. This year was the 118th World Series that ended on November 5th, 2022. On the Hebrew calendar, it was the 41st day of the Hebrew Civil New Year. And the number 41 written out sums to 118 and 91 in the 4 base ciphers, in a Hebrew practice called Gematria. Phillies ended the season sitting on 98 wins with a loss in Game 6. Excuse me. So the Hebrew calendar, the 41st day, 41 sums to 118 and 98. This is the 118th World Series, and Phillies end sitting on 98 wins for the season. On the Hebrew religious side of the calendar, aka the ecclesiastical side, it was the 11th day of the 8th month, written 11/8. So both Hebrew calendars had the number 18. One was more blatant than the other, being the 11th day of the 8th month on the Hebrew religious side, like 118. Game 6 of the 118th World Series concluded on the 11th day of the 8th month for the Hebrew, but it also was the 41st day of the Hebrew civil side, 41 written out sums to 118, and 98. Phillies sit on 98 wins. Now, this was only possible because of Halloween, which sums to 41, had a weather delay that pushed the remainder games by 1 day. So if you remember, Game 3 was supposed to be on Halloween. Game 4 was on Tuesday. Game 5 was on Wednesday. But because on Halloween there was a weather delay push, Game 3 ended up being Tuesday, Game 4 Wednesday, Game 5 Thursday, and then we have Game 6, which just so happened to have landed on the 11th day of the 8th month for the Hebrew religious side of the calendar, the 118th World Series, the conclusion. Talk about timing. Talk about perfect timing. Also, this also brings to light that if you hear anybody say they predicted the Astros would win the World Series on Saturday prior to the series even started, they're lying through their teeth. Why? Because there was no Game 6 on Saturday prior to the series even starting. Game 6 on Saturday only existed because of the rain delay for Game 3 on Halloween. Prior to the rain delay, Game 6 was supposed to be on Friday. So if you see anybody telling you that they predicted Astros that would win in Game 6 on Saturday, they're lying, because there was no Game 6 on Saturday prior to the World Series starting. Now, they could say, I predicted Astros will win in Game 6. That's factually evident. However, if they add in the Saturday part, they're lying, because Saturday didn't exist until after Halloween. All right, so Game 6 in Houston. So on the 11th day of the 8th month of the Hebrew religious 118th World Series ended. Well, something else is fascinating about this day with the Hebrew calendar. Astros win the World Series with a 11-2 postseason record. 11-2 for a postseason record this season in particular. Game 6, because of the rainout, was played on the 11th day of the 2nd month for the Hebrew civil year, written 11/2. Again, it was the 11th day of the 8th month on the Hebrew religious side, like 118, 118, this being the 118th World Series. And then it was the 11th day of the 2nd month on the Hebrew civil side, like 11/2, this game being played, well, we'll get to it here in a second, in Houston, where Astros became 11-2 for a postseason record this year. In the Hebrew practice called Gematria, the word Houston sums to 112. I mean, how coincidental is that? Because of the rainout on Halloween, Game 6 gets pushed to Saturday, the 11th day of the 2nd month, the 11th day of the 8th month, the 118th World Series that just so happens to be played in Houston, Houston 112. Houston also sums to 77, and Astros got their 77th postseason win as a team all time to go with their 11-2 postseason finish for this season in particular. And then if you write out the number 77, it equals 175, and it was Astros' 175th game for the current season. These are pretty fascinating connections. Astro World Festival. The words Astro World Festival sums to 112 and 77, just like Houston sums to 112 and 77, Houston Astros got their 77th postseason win as a team all time on the 11th day of the second month for the Hebrew Civil Year, written 11/2, the 1-year anniversary of the Astro World Festival Death Concert, finishing 11-2 for a postseason record this season in their 175th game of the season. Of course, 77 written out sums to 175, and the performer, Travis Scott, sums to 77. 118 and 112. So let's put it in quotes. The 118th World Series concludes on the 11th day of the 8th month for the Hebrew religious side of the calendar, the aka the ecclesiastical side, written 11/8. In Game 6 at Houston sums to 112, where Houston won with a 11-2 record postseason for this year, the 11th day of the second month for the Hebrew civil side, the 41st day of the Hebrew civil new year, 41 sums to 118 in the Hebrew practice. It was the 1-year anniversary of Astro World Festival, which sums to 112. It's pretty gnarly. Pretty gnarly. Eagles versus the Astros. So Game 5 and Thursday Night Football played on the same night because of the Halloween weather incident. So again, Game 3 was supposed to be on Monday, Halloween, but because of the incident, Game 3 was moved to Tuesday. Game 4 was on Wednesday, and then Game 5 coincidentally landed on Thursday with Thursday Night Football. If the rain delay did not happen, there would have been no baseball game on Thursday Night Football. That would have been the off day. It would have been Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, off on Thursday, and then Game 6 would have been Friday. But because of the rain delay, it lined up the football game for Thursday, and then it also lined up the Saturday connections with the Hebrew and Astro World. So Game 5 of the Thursday Night Football played the same night because of the Halloween weather incident. Philadelphia Eagles versus Houston Texans in Houston, while Houston Astros versus Philadelphia Phillies in Philadelphia. It was the number 6 seed Phillies versus the number 1 seed Astros. And Astros picked up their 116th win for this season as Texans became 161 for a season record with a loss. So on the same night that Texans become 161, Astros pick up their 116th win. 116, 161, the 6 seed versus the 1 seed. These are all just anagrams of each other, and it only occurred because of the Halloween delay. Phillies ended their season 11-6 for a postseason record with a loss this season in particular in Game 6, as they became 61-60 for a postseason record as a team all time, while the Astros got their 61st home win for the season with pitcher Framber Valdez, which sums to 61 starting. So you see this 6-1 pattern: 61, 61, 6-1-6, 1-1-6. 161, 116, the 6 seed versus the 1 seed. Very fascinating stuff, in my opinion. So let's get to the other half of this. My bias number, my 182, my 218, my 128, my 281 bias number. This number just gets played ad nauseum, and I'm going to show you how crazy this number gets in the next few slides. I've made a YouTube series on this. Let's exit this. I've made a YouTube series on this number called the Gabby Petito case. There's 51 videos. It all started with the Gabby Petito case, and it ranges from a bunch of different topics. But if you just go to the first video and read this comment right here about the number 182, 218, 128, 281, it's pretty crazy. It's pretty crazy. But let's get back into the slide, because I'm going to just show you most of it here. So the 118th World Series ended on the 218th day of the Hebrew religious year, the 11th day of the 8th month for the Hebrew religious side, written 11/8. Framber Valdez, which sums to 218 and 61, He was the starting pitcher in Game 6, the number 6 seed versus the 1 seed, like 61, where Astros got their 61st home win as Philly sat on 61 postseason wins all time as a team with a loss. So again, the 118th World Series on the ends on the 11th day of the 8th month for the Hebrew religious, the 218th day of the Hebrew religious year, and Framber Valdez, which sums to 218, was the starting pitcher. It also sums to 61. You have the 6 versus the 1 seed, the 61 home win. Philly sat on 61 postseason wins with the loss. If you write out the number 218 or 218, 218 equals 281, the 60th prime number. This is Astros' 60th anniversary. It's why they wear the number 60 patches on their jerseys. Framber Valdez was starting pitcher in Game 2, where Astros got their 60th home win for the season. It was the same night Jake Paul became 6-0 for a fight record in Glendale, which sums to 60. And of course, 281 and 218, they're just anagrams of each other, right? We're talking about all the different patterns of the 1, 8, and the 2, 1, and the 8, all those different combos. Game 6 was Phillies manager's 128th game all time for his career. His name is Robert Thompson, which sums to 182. Astros won with 117 wins for the season, and mathematics tells us the sum divisors of 117 equals the number 182. Show the math page. I'll show the math page here for you guys. Let's go down. Go into 117. So number properties, this is the divisors right here, 1, 3, 9, 13, 39, 117. Sum divisors, if you add those up, it's 182. Sums to 182. Again, this was the 218th day of the Hebrew religious. Framber Valdez, which sums to 218, was the starting pitcher. It was the Phillies manager's 128th game. His name, Robert Thompson, sums to 182. Astros win with 117 wins. Mathematics tells us that the sum divisors of 117 equals to the number 182. Now, this number keeps going, and I'm going to show you all the different examples of it. The Astro World Festival was founded in the year 2018. Do you see the 182 or the 218 in there? Again, this game concluded on the 218th day of the Hebrew religious, the 1-year anniversary of Astro World. Framber Valdez, 218, was the starting pitcher. Astro World was founded in the year 2018, the 218. Travis Scott's lady, Kylie Jenner, equals 128, was in attendance. This following next Saturday after the World Series is UFC pay-per-view 281, the 60th prime number. The main event features a fighter named Alex Pereira, which sums to 60 in New York City, which equals 60. Again, Astros, the 60th anniversary. 281, the 60th prime. 281, anagram of 218. Game 6 concluded on the 218th day of the Hebrew religious side. UFC announced their 281 main event on the 8th day of the 12th month for the Hebrew civil leap year earlier this year, written 8/12. Jake Paul was originally supposed to fight in New York City, which equals 60, against Hasman Rahman Jr., which sums to 218, but was changed to Glendale, equals 60. The night Framber Valdez, equals 218, helped Astros get their 60th home win. November is the same month Michelle Obama will be releasing her book called The Light We Carry, which sums to 182, on the 21st day of the 8th month on the Hebrew religious side, written 218. Tom Brady's divorce was officially announced on October 28th, written 10/28 or 28/10. See the numbers in there, the 218 and the 128. The day after they played the Ravens, which was when it was announced, you know, the number 12 quarterback versus the number 8 quarterback, the 12 and the 8, the 8 and the 12, like 128. Buccaneers became 3-5 for a season record with a loss that night. If you write out the number 35, it sums to 128. The same day UFC 281 announced their main event, the 8th day of the 12th month for the Hebrew civil leap year. The news broke that Kim and Pete broke up. These two made headlines on SNL last year. Hence, Kim Kardashian kisses Pete Davidson, which sums to 128. Basketball legend Bill Russell passed away on the 170th day of his current age. 170 written out sums to 218. Just prior to Michelle Obama's "The Light We Carry" 182, a book announcement. The Los Angeles Rams, which sums to 218, won the Super Bowl in February 2022. The current governor of California sums to 182, is Gavin Christopher Newsom, which sums to 281, the 60th prime number. And the next presidential inauguration will be the 60th inauguration. Ex-wife of former President Donald Trump sums to 182. We all know what happened there. Robert Bobby Cramo III equals 128. Happened on Independence Day, 128. The person of interest, 218. We all know what happened there. Matthew McConaughey sums to 281, the 60th prime number. The hometown he was born in was Uvalde, Texas. We all know what happened there. Tom Brady's false retirement announcement earlier in the 2022 year took place 182 days since his last birthday. And then, of course, his retirement or his divorce was officially announced on October 28th, 2810. John Madden sums to 182. His last birthday was on the 28th day of the first month for the Hebrew religious side, 281, 28/1, and passed away on December 28th, written 12/28. You see the 128 in there. Vegas Dave released his movie last year called The People vs. Vegas Dave, the Vegas Dave movie, which sums to 182. Virgil Abloh sums to 182, the American fashion designer that Kanye West says was killed. He's ranted about that this year, that Virgil Abloh was killed. Virgil Abloh sums to 182. Los Angeles Rams sums to 218, won the Super Bowl, and Snoop Dogg performed at halftime. His mom, Beverly Brodus Green, sums to 218. Passed away on the 18th day of the second month for the Hebrew civil year during last season, written 182. Chargers play in the same place as Rams, and their quarterback is Justin Herbert, 182. Last season, Chargers game at home in California, 182, was delayed due to a lightning strike, 182, spotted in the area. It was the same day Powerball winner, 218, was announced in California. It was the 28th day of the first month for the Hebrew Civil New Year, written 28/1. The same day, quote-unquote, Sarah Silverman equals 218, a Hebrew actress, was in the headlines for her Jew face comment. This was around the same time last year when William Shatner OC, which sums to 182, teamed up with Jeffrey Bezos, which sums to 182, to go into space. Last year, rapper Meek Mill released his new album on a day leaving 182 left in the Hebrew religious year, and his album artwork went viral. The artist who did the artwork was Nina Chanel Abney, 128. Sarah Jessica Parker equals 182, announced the Sex and the City reboot, 281. In October of last year, Reese Witherspoon equals 218 celebrated the anniversary of her first-year movie role, which marked the 197th day of her current 45-year-old age. 197, the 45th prime number. 197, an anagram of 719, the 128th prime number. Canadian pop singer Karam Olette equals 182, passed away, was born on December 8th, written 12/8. Another fashion designer, Andrew Leon Talley, passes away January 18th, 2022, written 11822. You see the 182 in there. The last sacrifice in the TV show Squid Games was the character who wore the number 218. Tyson Fury turned 33 years old this last year on August 12th, written 8/12 or 12/8. The same day, quote-unquote, Brian Laundrie, which sums to 128, and Gabby Petito were recorded on police cam in Moab City, 128. Where's Gabby, 182. Missing Persons, 182. Van Life Girl, 182. Fury versus Wilder, 182. And Fury ended his trilogy 3, 33 years old, with Wilder on the 33rd day of the Hebrew Civil New Year. LeBron James / Space Jam sums to 182. And now I know that's not a real phrase or sentence, but Space Jam and LeBron James do go together. Specifically released last summer, the same summer and month that Gabby and Brian left on their road trip on a day leaving 182 left in the Gregorian year. Please visit my playlist on this number combo for the rest, 51 videos total. Now, including this video you are watching as Blink-182, Big Brother 23, the Gabby Petito case, the full case, Wendy Williams, Sandra Bullock, Bob Saget, etc., etc. Hebrew calendar, Hebrew practice, okay? Gematria is a Hebrew practice. You got to be using the Hebrew calendar because this is a Hebrew world conspiracy. Framber Valdez, which equals 218, helped Astros win the 118th World Series on the 11th day of the 8th month for the Hebrew religious side, written 11/8, the 218th day of the Hebrew religious year. Thank you for watching. Leave a comment, a like below. I really appreciate it, guys. Hopefully this was informative, entertaining. I know you're not going to get any of this information anywhere else, not like this. And I hopefully, not to repeat myself, but hopefully you enjoyed it. I really appreciate you guys watching. Appreciate the support. And I'll see you guys in the next video.